This is big. This is the beginning of Disney coming out and saying what it is that we real Star Wars fans have been accusing them of this whole time, and it's only now, the season finale of The Acolyte, that they come out and admit it. The Acolyte! Oh, The Acolyte! It has become one of, if not the, worst piece of Star Wars media ever created. Oh, I don't know, Johnny, the reviews are looking pretty average to me. Nothing out of the ordinary. Whoa, wow, wow. And that's saying something. Ask any seasoned Star Wars fan and they'll be able to tell you that the franchise has pooped out its fair share of stinkers over the decades. The Acolyte is definitely worse than The Blandalorian Season 3.
You must be sure to visit the Sky Dome Botanical Gardens. The Isis blossoms are
boring.
Boring.
I would say that The Acolyte is even worse than I'm Han Solo.
I'm solo, I'm Han Solo, I'm Han Solo, I'm Han Solo, solo.
It's definitely worse than that one time I attempted to conduct the main theme. 1, 2. And it is definitely worse than the holiday special. Which a bunch of casuals indirectly celebrate every year at Disney World. They celebrate Life Day at Disney World. That's really cool. But before you die of cringe exposure, don't worry, because Disney made all of this super cool Life Day merchandise, including t-shirts like this one. Why is there a Chinese Ray on it? Ray had nothing to do with the holiday special. I mean, Daisy Ridley wasn't even born when it aired, but whatever. Now come to think of it, it's probably because the only people brain dead enough to want to buy something like that would be a sequel enjoyer. Therefore, slap Ray on it.
It all makes sense now.
No, it damn well doesn't.
A lot of people these days seem to be under the illusion that being a real fan means to blindly enjoy anything and everything that comes from a franchise, when of course, that is not the case. You need to have the knowledge and the discernment to be able to pick what is good from a franchise and what is The Acolyte. And talking of The Acolyte, we have already covered episodes 1, 2, and 3 in the previous video. If you haven't seen that yet, I'll leave that link down in the description. Go watch that, then rejoin us here. But we pick up with episode 4, which starts by answering the age-old question of if a Wookiee lives by themselves in what looks like a vault from Fallout New Vegas, what does it draw on the walls? And if you were thinking anything along the lines of yin and yang / crude space boobs, you go ahead and give yourself a big old pat on the back. Guys, I'm thinking that these drawings could have something to do with the power of one. Nay, maybe the power of two, or even, maybe even the power of many.
The power of one, the power of two, the power of many.
I still can't believe that's a thing in Star Wars. What a time to be alive. And we'll get right back to the video, but first, you might want to see this. This was me just over a month ago, and as you can probably see, I was a little bit of a doughy gamer boy. And this is me now, still mildly doughy, but there's been a definite improvement. Hell, it's only been a month, and that is all thanks to today's sponsor, Trainwell, formerly known as Copilot Fitness. Now, I'm not here to sell you magic beans. Oh, there is no cheat code. There is no secret formula when it comes to health and fitness. There is only hard work and dedication, and that is what Trainwell are here to help you with. And they do this by providing you with a personal trainer who has been especially selected to suit your preferences, and they will tailor make the perfect workout routine to fit in with your lifestyle, equipment, and fitness goals.
Anything in particular that you're looking to work on?
Yeah, I want to like slim down but tone up.
Yeah, so it sounds like you kind of want to go into kind of like a recomposition phase.
100%.
Awesome. So I'll get you all set up starting Monday.
Sounds great, my friend. Thank you. And these workouts can be easily accessed through your phone. So whether you're at home, at the gym, or, well, just about anywhere really, you can have the app take you along every workout with on-screen video showing you exactly how to perform the exercises. And if you know what you're doing, you can always listen along as it takes you through your whole workout. It's as easy as that. And the app keeps a track of all of the tedious logistics you would usually have to remember yourself. Things like workout days, rest times, sets, reps, body weight progression. And that means that all of the stress remains on your muscles and not your mind. So all you have to do is turn up and put the work in. The Trainwell app has genuinely been a game changer for me, and it can do the same for you. So go ahead, click that top link in the description, get yourself 14 days completely free with your own personal trainer. Go ahead, no excuses, turn yourself into a Giga Chad and thank me later. And a big thank you to Trainwell for sponsoring this video. You know, I'm disappointed in myself for not mentioning this character in the previous video. What? What is this design? She looks like a little anemic boy if you gave him Scarlett Johansson's haircut that one time when she hard nerfed herself. Oh, and don't forget the Cheeto Dust eyeshadow. It's essential to give you that space glow. Yas Queen Slay. So, we then catch up with the Parent Trap's evil twin sister, who is in search of the Wookiee who likes to draw space boobs.
Find the Wookiee. And it was hard. That is one Jedi who doesn't want to be found.
Oh yeah! I remember that Wookiee that doesn't want to be found. The really subtle one that's very covert and definitely wouldn't do anything to draw any attention to themselves. Yeah, I remember that one. I have got a quick question. When did makeup departments that made characters like these get replaced with face painting hobby groups? I can only imagine it's a budget thing, but the whole painting a human a different colour and that making them an exotic alien species is a bit more school play than Star Wars.
This sucks, man.
But the lack of imagination, surprisingly, doesn't quite end there. Miss Headland, the creator of this show, has clearly been taking notes from The Mandalorian. Season 1? It was alright, you know, it was basically a Western in space. You take all the tropes from Western TV shows and you reskin it with a load of space junk and poof, voila!
Great success.
And Leslie has done the very same thing, but not with a Western. This time she's gone more whodunit, buddy cop kind of show.
Let me be the one to bring her in.
The only thing is, Mandalorian Season 1 worked because it was a decent show, as well as being, you know, a reskinned cliche. The Acolyte isn't even better than Samurai Cop.
They call him Samurai. He speaks fluent Japanese.
What does katana mean?
It means Japanese sword.
The dialogue isn't much better than Samurai Cop either.
If Akamura is here, then we'll arrest him. And we'll have a solid case against the Katana gang for hiring 4 assassins to kill a policeman. On the other hand, if it's the wrong house, then we'll apologize to the owner.
She's a murderer.
But she's still your family.
Fine.
Now you listen here. I don't want to go near someone who's a murderer, but you're related to that murderer. Well, when you put it like that, I'm in. Well, anyway, Team Squid Game are now also in search of the Wookiee who likes to draw space boobs, but they've got an advantage over the evil twin as they have brought with them a space beaver who's capable of tracking the Wookiee by sniffing its used underwear. Star Wars is so cool now. It's way cooler than it was before. It's really very cool, really cool. Also, and you will be very shocked to hear this, but I am not a botanist. I know very little of the plant world, but we saw a wide shot of the forest, and those trees are clearly hundreds of feet tall. They're enormous. But then, cut to them walking through that forest, and all of a sudden, they're all spindly little teeny tiny trees with trunks that can't be any more than, what, like 30, 40 feet? Also, the bark is the wrong colour. In the wide shot, they're pale, and in the close-up, they're dark. If you can't pay attention to the little things, the big picture doesn't even matter. Like, we can't even get the trees the right colour. Really, Star Wars? So, episode 5 starts and the big bad has shown up and is killing everyone from Team Squid Game. Well, not everyone, but everyone who we didn't know and had absolutely no impact on the plot whatsoever. That's really sweet of him to do that, you know, because if he'd killed anyone important, then the writers might have to have, well, they might have actually have to have written something and been creative. No one wants that. Thank God for the Acolyte. I've been saying this for years now, but Star Wars just doesn't have enough bad guys with dark helmets, red lightsabers, and modulated voices. I'm so glad that this show is willing to make up for the distinct lack of that. You know, for a show that was supposed to be so progressive and redefining, they sure have copied a lot of ideas from older, more outdated shows and movies, whilst also creating something worse than and more outdated than any one of them. Ain't that something? But, to be fair to them, at least they've stopped with the whole Kung Fu in Star Wars thing. Ah, well, never mind. But to be fair, they did actually end up killing off 2 important characters. Those 2 characters were Cheeto Dust Girl and that one guy who thought that there was no good and evil in Star Wars.
The best parts about Star Wars is there is no good or evil.
And he thought that Anakin blew up the Death Star.
You can't look and see that Anakin blowing up the Death Star possibly killed millions and millions of people.
Yeah, so when a show that you don't particularly like kills off characters that you don't particularly care about, doesn't quite hit the same as something like, I don't know, like The Red Wedding. But talking of Game of Thrones, by the final season, episodes were costing about $15 million each, which is an astounding figure. That is an insane amount of money for a television episode. Until you find out that each individual episode of The Acolyte works out to a budget of about $22.5 million. There is something going on here. There has to be some sort of scam. Someone is pocketing one too many millions somewhere, because Lord knows I cannot see $22.5 million worth of production in the entire season, let alone a single episode. The Battle of the Bastards, for example, was one of the more iconic, labor-intensive, and celebrated episodes of Game of Thrones, and that cost $11 million. And yeah, there will have been a bit of inflation since then, but you can produce 2 of those episodes for the price of 1 Acolyte episode. That's so stupid. Now you look at me in my face and you tell me you prefer this Disney garbage to that. You tell me that the creators of the show aren't incompetent grifters, scammers, or both. Go ahead.
Make my day. Let's go.
Oh, so a Jedi won't attack someone who is unarmed, but they will leave behind the bodies of their dead friends. Good to know. So, we're on to episode 6, and in the previous video that I made a bit of a joke talking about how it was like the Parent Trap in space. It was just a shit little joke because they're twins. Get it? It wasn't funny. But the thing is, they're actually doubling down on that meme. So, the evil twin, the one with the long hair, has now cut her hair to look like the other twin, and they've swapped places. The evil twin is now with Master Sol, and the good twin is now with the big bad. It was a joke at first, but this is actually Parent Trap in space now. That's cool. Also, there's these ballsack birds. That's pretty chill. If I could briefly just mention once again the whole 22.5 million per episode thing, if you could just keep that in mind. Look, I like this Lee Jung-jae guy. He's clearly a decent actor, but they waste so much screen time just focusing on this guy's face. They are literally trying to carry a Star Wars show with the emotional capacity of a singular Korean man, and it's just not doing it for me. She's got a purple whip lightsaber. Of course, yeah, why would she not? Why would she not? I'm sure that like a wibbly wobbly lightsaber is super useful in a duel. I'm sure that comes in real handy. And also quite ironic that the hideous green lady makes things that are traditionally rigid floppy. I'm just saying. So, it turns out that the honourable Jedi, in this case Master Sol, committed the not so honourable act of leaving the dead bodies of his friends behind because plot. Yes. The only reason the writers have him leave the bodies behind is so that when the Jedi came to investigate after the fact, they would believe that it was Sol that killed everyone, as they have no idea of the existence of the Sith at this point, leaving him to be the only presumed culprit due to his abilities and his current absence. You don't need me to tell you this, but having someone break character solely with the intent of helping the plot to progress is bad writing 101. It's one of the first things as a writer you're taught not to do. Continuity is super important. But to be fair, competent writing is pretty overrated these days. Am I right? It's just kind of boring. I say we normalize having mouth breathers in the writing room. Am I right? Okay, real and based. I'll tell you one thing I've noticed so far. One signature mark that makes Star Wars is the soundscape. Whether it's weapons or music, one reason people have such a deep connection to the franchise is because of the sound design. And this show has none of that. The music, well, I mean, I'm not going to say it's bad because, if I'm honest, I don't remember any of it. And that's kind of the point. It's utterly forgettable. Like, yeah, even The Mandalorian had that. If you've watched The Acolyte, go ahead, hum anything from it. A sound effect, a motif, a piece of music, anything. Go ahead. I'll wait. Actually, no, I won't, because I don't have that much time, and we also have to get on to episode 7. And episode 7 starts with a Wookiee with a metal detector. Next week on The Acolyte, a Gungan goes fly fishing, and a battle droid texts back a single thumbs up emoji to a complex question from his son. Episode 7, oh my god, what can I say about episode 7? Episode 7 is a snooze fest. It's essentially a recap of episode 3. You are watching episode 3 again, just with a little bit of context added here and there. We found out that Sol was watching the twins at one point. And Torben, when he got mind freaked, we heard what the witch was saying to him. Yes, that kind of technique can work, sort of, flashbacking an episode, but adding a few more bits of information to recontextualize it. But the problem was there was no grand revelations. It didn't serve to do anything other than bulk out the runtime. And that is made even more questionable by the ludicrous budget of this show. Where's the money, Disney? Huh? Someone's holding a great big bag of money. And it ain't because they made a great show.
Where's the money, Lebowski? Where's the f***ing money, shithead?
It's not until halfway into the entire episode the plot even inches forward. And it's then when we learn that both Saul and Torben both defied the orders of the council. Torben needs the twins as proof of a force phenomenon, allowing him to return home. And Saul wants Osha to be his Padawan. And it's like, okay, that's a half-decent bit of plot. It took way too long to get there. And rewatching an entire episode, but here we are. And then it immediately jumps right back out the window again. Crazy witch lady goes sicko mode and tries to disintegrate herself and one of the twins, but then she gets stabbed in the heart. Everyone just kind of stands around for a bit, and then a fight kicks off. Basically, this episode is taking the very long route to get to the point, which is Master Saul actually could have saved both twins, realized he didn't have the power to save both twins, and had to choose one of them. And he chose Osha. That is Le Grand Revelation.
I had to make a choice.
The episode is forcing us to rewatch episode 3 almost in its entirety, just to say, hey look, this Saul guy might not quite be as angelic as he appears. He's made some questionable decisions. And that's it. That's so unbelievably cool. Thank you so much for this episode, Disney. Love you so much. My God, that is awful. It's like, at least episode 3 gave us the Space Witch musical, and that gave us something to laugh at. This episode took all of that out and just gave us back the most boring bits and added revelations that no one cares about. Clearly bored of the what if a bad guy was actually good Disney trope, the Acolyte episode 7 turns that on its head and bravely asks the question, what if the good guys were bad? I personally think a more pressing question would have been, what if the writers weren't vegetables? But hey, there we go, it ain't my show. And finally, it's time for the finale. As excited as I am?
This is fun. Are you having fun? Of course. And Eminem, are you having fun?
Now, there are many things that I could talk about when it comes to episode 8. I could talk about the fact that when Saul tries to explain to May what it is that he's trying to prove with his mission, she seems to immediately forget.
There is a version on this planet. Now that you and Osha are both alive, I can prove it.
Prove it? Prove what?
God damn, there's a lot of stupid bastards walking around.
I could talk about the garbage writing, and rather than showing, a different, slightly less competent side of the Order and a slightly more empathetic dark side, we get a bunch of bumbling Jedi and hormonal preteen villains.
See you now, Jedi.
I could talk about the fact that Captain Squid Game pauses just long enough to allow the person that he's chasing to get away. And then about how a space badger with absolutely no motive whatsoever acts as a deus ex machina, stopping Saul from catching May. Remember in one of the earlier episodes when Osha crash landed in a spaceship, and not only did the ship survive the crash, but so did she, thanks to the fact that she was wearing a seatbelt. Yeah, when you're talking tens of thousands of miles an hour, I don't know if a seatbelt makes all that much difference, really. But don't want to risk mansplaining anything. I've not actually crashed a spaceship myself, but it would seem that that kind of silliness runs in her family because May, in this episode, also crash lands a spaceship and crash lands onto what I can only assume is a mountain range made entirely up of silicone breast implants and bicycle inner tubes. I could talk about the phony emotional ending with the two twins, who have both had terrible things happen to them, certainly, but are both, in their own right, through their own actions, terrible people as well, leaving us with a very disappointing moral that irrefutably evil actions are okay if bad things happen to you before you do them. And good is just misunderstood badness. Fabulous.
We don't control the Force.
Not the Force. Your emotions.
Hold on just a moment. Are you saying that women are emotional? Come on now, my friend, we can't be doing that. Having said that, she does look a little more like an avocado than a woman, but whatever. Hey, would you look at that? More Kung Fu in Star Wars. Have I ever told you guys how much I enjoy that sort of thing? But the point that I want to draw attention to the most is the fact that the paper-thin veil of contempt for what real fans love about Star Wars is beginning to slip, and the subtle smearing of the Jedi is becoming a little less subtle.
I think the Jedi are a massive system of unchecked power, posing as a religion. A delusional cult that claims to control the uncontrollable.
The show aims to paint the Jedi as a corrupt and paranoid religion that goes about killing people that they deem to be too powerful.
I'll show when they find out how powerful you are.
You will meet the same fate as our mother.
And don't even get me started on the final scene. So, the corrupt Jedi cover up their cover-up with another cover-up. And then, the whole season ends on a scene implicating within all of this corruption Yoda.
Sorry to disturb you, Master. We need to talk.
I think that the attempt to invert the morality of the Star Wars universe is nothing if not very predictable. After all, it is page 1 of the Disney Manifesto. But this is big. This is the beginning of Disney coming out and saying what it is that we real Star Wars fans have been accusing them of this whole time. And it's only now, the season finale of The Acolyte, that they come out and admit it. By inverting the fundamental principles that people love about Star Wars and the Jedi, honor, hope, courage, perseverance, standing up in the face of insurmountable evil. By turning that on its head, you're going to push out those with strong and righteous moral convictions and invite in the weak and the parasitic. But the unnerving thing is, that is exactly what Disney want to do. Pushing out the long-term, hardline fans of Star Wars is essential for Disney's success with the franchise. Not just because of those fans' morals, but because those fans also have a great deal of taste, knowledge, and love for the franchise, and simply won't be satisfied by half-arsed fan fiction pantomimes. And Disney are well aware of this, and they are even more aware of the fact that they are simply not capable of delivering quality. So those fans need to be ostracized, they have to be, and then replaced with mindless consumers that are okay with quantity.
I just know that I love Star Wars so much that the more Star Wars media that we can get, the better. So
Disney, up until this point, has refused to interact with the real Star Wars fans out there, apart from the odd time they pop up to call us all bigots for not liking their garbage TV shows. But to me, this episode, this whole season, is a declaration. This is Disney finally throwing down the gauntlet towards the real fans of Star Wars. The Rubicon has been crossed, as the Clash once said. Now war is declared and battle come down. And all I can say is, bring it on, Disney, you weird little bastards. I would say that this is classic Disney Star Wars, but the fact is, this is one step further. I know that the "this killed Star Wars" has been cried probably one too many times, but for me, this series really is the final nail in the coffin. This is Disney saying, whilst we have the reins to Star Wars, you will not enjoy this, so shoo! Begone, peasant. And though I, like many others, gave up on Disney a long time ago, I will never give up on Star Wars. If it's Disney, I don't care how many logos you slap on it, it ain't Star Wars, and it never will be. And the way they're heading with the franchise financially, they are not going to be able to hold on to it forever. And one day, they will have to hand back the rights to it, and it will once again return to the hands of man. Hello there, Jonny from the future. Hope you enjoyed this video, and don't forget to click my Trainwell link down in the description to get yourself 2 full weeks for free with your very own personal trainer. Thanks again to Trainwell for sponsoring this video. And these are the top tiers. These are the Knights of Lore: Infinite Dum Dum, Pozabon, Flunky, David, Jax, Koss, Michael Turpia, Texas Lawman, ATS, Dagger D69, nice, Saint Nemo, Steve the Goat, Michael, the Grand Admiral, Jordan 96, Satema Kano, and we're welcoming Patrick Coyne. I knight you, Sir Patrick of Lore. Thank you for joining the top tier, my friend. That is a great honor. And it helps me out a lot here on this channel. Really do appreciate it, mate. It's good to have you. And then we have the tier 2, Saeed, Dr. Musky, Yarmwich, Hadzu, Kanadog Ramachi, Mark Maiden, Sensei, Fang, Mendicant Bias, Agent Mo62, Stu Cheeks, Michael S, Rich Walbert, Kidnap Tiger, and Mona. To each of you, thank you very much. And of course, a big thank you to the tier 1s as well. I'll see you around, guys. And there we go. Another day, another video. Will you join me for my next one? You better do, you little bitch. But until then, take care of yourselves, and I'll see you very soon.